What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Gremlins, and more gremlins. I just want to point out real quick, one of my favorite gremlins of all time was a gremlin with 3 cigarettes hanging out of his mouth and an entire bottle of liquor in his hand.
Hell yeah.
That was the best gremlin of all of them. I don't know his name, don't know who decided to put him in that situation, but yeah, that was my dude right there.
Hell yeah. That's party gremlin. That's me in college gremlin.
Hell yeah. So what we're heads up. We've detected copyrighted audio and video in your stream. Your stream may be temporarily blocked. Fuck.
Are you shitting me?
I wish I was.
Great.
Well, if we're still live, let us know, because now I don't really know anymore.
I guess you can only go for a certain amount of time.
Yeah, well, it looks like we're still good to go. Looks like we hadn't even made it.
Yeah, we're still good right now.
Okay. All right. We're good.
Fuck you too.
So either way it goes, yes, that was copywritten and all that kind of stuff. We don't own it. We don't claim to own it. We're using it as a part of fair use. But either way it goes. Plus, this channel isn't monetized, so fuck them. Anyways, we're talking about Gremlins, obviously. I think if you saw the show last week, you'll know Steven said, hey, spoiler alert, there may be some controversy with this one. And boy, was he right. Mm-hmm. We found some controversial material that we're going to discuss. And just a heads up, it's controversial. So you'll see when we get into it. But
we'll discuss it in very
in very short detail. But either way it goes, Steven, how's it going, bud?
Going good, man. How's it going?
It's good. You ready for Christmas?
Well, considering I'm working it, I don't really care. But yeah, I guess make a little double. It'll be nice.
Yeah. I couldn't imagine $3,000 an hour. It's just
a double, not straight time.
Oh, sorry, so 6,000 an hour. Wow, that's impressive. That's
still severely underpaid.
That's bordering on Batman money. Speaking of Batman, Batman, happy birthday, my brother from another mother, from a Puerto Rican mother.
And speaking of Batman, it's a perfect transition. Next week's movie, we have decided, is going to be Joker.
Yep.
So then, just a spoiler alert, I can't talk. Spoiler alert, I believe me and Heavy are going to have a little bit of a disagreement on this movie. So it should make for an entertaining video.
Well, we haven't talked about that movie in detail yet. We've had some short little, so I think I know where we're going with this one as far as the disagreement, but I think at the end of the day, we can, on this one in particular, I think we can agree to disagree because neither one of us have a negative connotation of the movie.
I have a slightly negative connotation.
Well, okay. Well, there you go. You might get called some disgusting names next week, but
definitely tune in for that, guys.
We got TJ in the chat. We got Charlie in the chat. We got Bob Shorkey in the chat. We got Batman, Leo, Johnny Drips is out there. My other co-host with the Mo-host.
Stand Up 3D. What's going on,
Stand Up 3D, Jesse. Or should we start calling him Juicy? I think he's isn't he French?
Juicy Smollett?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's
Juicy Stuckier. That's what we'll start calling him. So yeah, let's get into it. You got some facts lined up for me?
I do.
All right, let's get into it.
Gremlins came out in 1984, directed by Joe Dante, which I don't know who that is.
How old were you in 1984?
I wasn't even a sperm.
Oh, okay. I was 4 years old, or 3 years old.
Written by Chris Columbus, which aside from being a very interesting name, He also directed Home Alone and Home Alone 2, which
But
Home Alone was the movie we did last week.
look, I think you're kind of sidestepping his biggest accomplishment.
He discovered America.
Discovering America.
Yeah.
It's kind of a big deal. I don't know if you knew about that. He's got his own day. Chris Columbus Day.
So, aside from that interesting tidbit, it was produced on a budget of $11 million, and the box office return was 153.1 million. So
that's a bigger hit than Home Alone was.
Yeah, well, I think Home Alone was more because if I remember right, Home Alone had a 20-time return.
Is it
right? I thought it was.
Yeah,
20 times.
I think it had a bigger initial budget as well. Because $11 million back in '84 was a lot of money, dude. That was a lot of money.
Here's an interesting point: is when it was released on VHS, which was in 1985. So it was in theaters for a year, approximately. Came out in 1985 on VHS. It made $79.5 million in video rental stores alone.
Jesus,
that's insane,
dude. And to make that much money at Blockbuster, I think rentals may have been $1.50 back then.
Yeah, at most.
You know, so you're talking, Jesus, man, that much money, $70 million in video rental stores. That shows you the you know, for the people that are even Steven's age and up, I think it would be hard for me to believe that you spent a considerable amount of time in like a Blockbuster or a Hollywood Video.
You would be wrong.
Really?
There was a video rental store in my hometown called Video City.
Okay.
And it was 3-day rentals for $1.
Okay.
Yeah. And I spent basically almost every weekend there.
Yeah. See, we used to go to Blockbuster. Blockbuster was our thing. There was one, I don't know, maybe 4 miles from the house. And then there was another one, like a little secondary chain called Hollywood Video. And then you had the pornography shop that had, you know, their movies. So there was plenty of places around town growing up that you could rent movies. But like going to Blockbuster was one of my favorite things. Like, Daddy, let's go to Blockbuster. All right.
Yep.
So that used to be one of my favorite things. And I can only imagine. Now this obviously, I don't know how kid friendly it was then. Like today's standards obviously have shifted. So like me and my daughter watched this yesterday. So we're it's different time, different standards. But back then, man, that was a controversial movie, man.
Well, you bring that up. This leads into a pretty interesting point of Gremlins, is that even though it was really successful, it was criticized because of the more violent content that it had.
Yeah.
And it's obviously rated PG. And around this time, it was the same time that Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom came out. Spielberg suggested that they alter the rating system of movies. And that was what created the PG-13 rating. So Gremlins and Indiana Jones, Temple of Doom are kind of
the reason
responsible for PG-13 ratings.
Yeah. Which is good. You know, like I said, obviously I was, in 1984, I was 2 years old, and Christmas of 84, I was almost 3. And Christmas of 85, I was almost 4. So I don't think I would have watched them when they came out, but I know, you know, as I got another 4 or 5 years on me, it was something we watched during Christmas time. But that was one of those movies I had to watch at my grandma's house because my mom and dad were like, nope, not going to happen.
Yep.
But my grandma didn't care. So, I don't know.
I started watching when I was like 8 or 9. So in like 2001.
Yeah. So in 2001, I was out of high school.
Yeah, I was 8.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but that's what makes a horse race, man. That's what makes this show interesting because there's a dynamic. Like now we kind of act the same, and I guess even when you were 8 and I was out of high school, we still kind of acted the same age, but you know.
Yeah, I was drinking and banging hookers when I was 8. You know what I mean? So.
No, I'm talking about I had the mind of an 8-year-old.
Oh, okay.
Trapped in the body of an 18-year-old. But either way it goes. So yeah, let's you know what? We opened Pandora's box. Let's go ahead and talk about the controversy surrounding this movie outside of that. The racially motivated, which I think is.
You want to go straight into that, or do you want to give a summary of the movie first?
I mean, why the hell
everybody's
not?
seen it, right?
Yeah, I mean, everybody that's watching. I don't know how many people are watching live, but like, you know, yeah, I'm 100% sure everybody's seen it.
Okay, so
now read the exact words so nobody can misconstrue this as your thoughts.
This is quoted. Okay, this is quoted. Now it is quoted from Wikipedia, but Wikipedia is quoting various movie critics. So this is a legitimate controversy, and it's a controversy that is more recent. So it didn't happen when the film came out, but in retrospect. Since its release, the film has been criticized as being culturally insensitive. Jonathan Rosenbaum argued that the film presents gremlins as African Americans. Patricia Turner,
I don't agree with that.
Hold on. Patricia Turner writes that the gremlins reflect negative African American stereotypes in their dress and behavior. They are shown devouring fried chicken with their hands, listening to black music, breakdancing, and wearing sunglasses after dark, and newsboy caps, a style common among African American males in the 1980s. End quote.
Okay, so who was quoted as saying that?
The part about the devouring fried chicken, that was Patricia Turner.
Okay, Miss Turner.
Yeah.
I'm clearly a white fellow. I had fried chicken for lunch. How the fuck else are you supposed to eat fried chicken except with your hands?
Exactly.
I'd like to know that.
Like you can find a controversy anywhere if you look hard.
Yeah, in anything. Yeah. Like, okay, so can you run through those stereotypes real quick? We've already discovered that white people eat fried chicken with their hands as well. So
listening to black music, which I would ask, what is your definition of black music?
Yeah. Okay. So when you have one of the arguably the greatest country artists of all time is a black guy, Darius Rucker, and you have a white guy that is one of the best rappers to ever step on the planet in Eminem, like
and not to mention, where did most music come from?
Yeah. So your argument falls flat on its face with that one. Okay. Next up.
Breakdancing.
My daughter.
I would just bring up Mr. Rogers did an entire episode about breakdancing, and he's a white dude, so fuck off.
Yeah.
Wearing sunglasses after dark. I don't even think black people do that.
That's not a negative stereotype. That's a fucking asshole trait. If you wear sunglasses at night, I mean, you're probably a fucking asshole.
And newsboy caps. I don't know what a newsboy cap is.
I don't know either. Maybe a visor?
Is it?
Well,
what's up, Joe White?
Speaking of racist, oh, it's like the little fucking like they wore in the Italian movies with the little pillow on top with the brim.
Oh, okay.
I would show you, but it would completely.
Yeah, let's not put any unnecessary strain on the stream.
Yeah, it's almost like a Kanglo hat.
Oh, I didn't know what a newsboy hat was, but I definitely know what a Kanglo hat is.
You know the hat with the little fucking kangaroo on it?
No.
Oh my God, you're such an idiot.
Hey man, I'm slightly dumb. Not the word I was going to use, but I've got to be appropriate. But yeah, that's.
Oh, were you going to say retarded? I agree.
Yeah, that's the big controversy surrounding Gremlins, is that apparently it's a racist movie. Which, if you're going to dub Gremlins a racist movie, why not point out the fucking fact that in Chinatown there's that crazy Asian dude with the long beard? Like, that is the biggest stereotype.
Yeah, that's the worst stereotype in the movie. because
Yeah.
it's a blatant, like, on the nose stereotype. He's got the Fu Manchu. He's smoking a long ass fucking opium pipe. He's got all these knickknacks and shit in his basement. Like, that's the stereotype. So
Plus, the gremlin thing is like a mystical creature from like the Orient or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, that's the stereotype. Fucking idiots.
So a couple of things about this movie that struck me as odd, right? And so, Miss Patricia, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to dig a little bit deeper to get me to like. So
Yes.
what? They smoked cigarettes and they partied. Guess what? I did that for most of my adult life. So,
And I did it while listening to hip hop.
yeah, exactly, and eating fried chicken with my fingers.
Yeah.
So ridiculous.
Because I'm not a
Anyway.
psychopath that uses a fork and knife to eat fried chicken.
Exactly. Dude, you go in Popeyes and ask them for a knife and a fork, and you didn't order red beans and rice, they're gonna ask you what the fuck is wrong with you.
Yeah, they're gonna tell you to fucking leave.
Yeah, I can't get my hands dirty.
Yeah. Well,
Like, sorry,
I would
sir.
hate to negatively stereotype. So I need a knife and a fork.
We're gonna give you a refund. Give me that chicken back. Like, you don't deserve the gold that is in this bag, sir. So a couple of things that stood out to me, right? When you meet the character, the main character, he's standing in front of his house and he's running out to his car to get ready to go to his job at the bank. And you notice behind him that there's a suburban house behind him, right? Now, in those days, granted, inflation is a thing, but a house like that nowadays has a mortgage that's, pretty substantial. His dad was this inventor, right? And I don't recall, I could be wrong, but I don't recall them giving any backstory to his dad, whether he had hit it big with one of his inventions or if they were all a bust. Who the fuck's paying for this house? Are they sending the kid to work at the bank to pay the mortgage?
That's your problem with the movie.
I'm trying to understand. These are things that weren't told.
In a movie about a magical creature,
No,
your
stop.
concern with logic is that who's paying the mortgage?
I'm going through the movie because the dad's inventions never worked. They were all bullshit. Like the little thing that the egg, the chicken that smashed his head into the egg. It didn't work. The mom tried to answer the phone on the goofy fucking receiver. It didn't work. The kid tried to look at the little bathroom buddy or whatever the fuck he was calling it. It didn't work. Like, none of this shit works. How the fuck are you paying the bills?
Yeah, who's paying for the shit?
Yeah, exactly. Is he driving the mother like insane, paying 3 jobs to pay the fucking bills so dad can tinker with goofy shit in the basement?
Yeah, dude, I think you're thinking way too deeply.
I am
about the mortgage.
I absolutely am.
Maybe they lived in a government-funded house.
Well, no, because only the Gremlins were the racist ones.
Oh, well, there we go.
I mean, it's true, is it not? That's what Patricia said.
Patricia Turner.
Yeah, Patricia Turner.
Let's just change this to an anti-Patricia Turner stream. No, so one of the things that struck out to me about this movie, here's what I realized when watching this movie. I enjoyed this movie, Die Hard, and Die Hard the most, I think.
Wow.
Out of all the Christmas movies that we've watched.
That's stout. Are we going to have a second week in a row with a retraction?
No, I did. But the reason is that just these are movies that are set around Christmas time, but they're also legitimate movies. Like, they don't rely on it just being Christmas. Like, Die Hard is a Christmas movie because, the whole plot the only reason he's at that party is because it's a Christmas party.
Yeah, it takes place at a Christmas party.
Was a crucial part of the plot, but at the same time, it's not really like the focus of the movie, and Gremlins is the same way.
Yeah, it just happens to be
Yeah, I like Christmas movies when Christmas is like the setting, but it's not the focus of the film, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's why I think I enjoyed those 2 movies the most. But yeah, that was something I noticed, and one other thing I noticed was that for a kid's film, which is what this was marketed as, there was some fucked up shit in this movie, man.
Yeah.
Like, the egg scene, when they all
Dude.
start hatching and shit, that creeped me the fuck out, dude. That was a scene straight out of Alien.
Yeah, it was. It was not at all what I expected. I don't but to be honest with you, I don't know what the hell I was expecting.
Well,
You
and we
know?
were talking about it when we were doing our live, yesterday, when we were watching the movie. We talked about, like, how good it held up, right? Because this movie is 25 years old. Is my math right? No, 35 years
Uh
old?
30
35.
30 yeah, 35 years old.
35 years old. And it holds up so good because it doesn't rely on, like, CGI and shit.
Yeah.
Everything was legitimate practical effects, like,
Yep.
Gremlins are all puppets. Or I guess they're puppets. I don't really fucking know what they did. And then the eggs were all like a legitimate uh,
Yeah,
special
they
effect.
were pieces of hardware.
Yeah, and so
Yeah.
it holds up over time. Whereas, like, if you watch a movie that's really heavy CGI and it's like 8 years old, it looks outdated.
Well, the another thing that we brought up is that movie is due for a reboot, right?
Yes.
But only if they stuck with the practical effects and not went all totally CGI. Like CGI, I get in some, if there's an explosion or there's, this, that, or the third, yeah, that's all good. Have some artistic license. But at the core of the movie, the reason that movie was made so well is because of the animatronics, the physical pieces of hardware that were carrying the software on the inside. That's what I thought was great about that movie, because Gizmo was like, he was animated, he moved and with the advances in robotics now, dude, they could
Yeah.
make it ridiculous over the top.
Imagine how badass a Gremlins reboot with like a hard R rating
Oh yeah.
would be.
Oh yeah.
Like violent, legitimately, like it emphasizes more on the horror elements of it. Like that would be super badass.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's due a reboot.
By the way, Tessa Garlington's in chat. She said Stevie is a puss.
Thanks, Tess. She also said Steven cried when we watched this movie as kids, which is also true.
Oh, nice. Let's unpack that. Cried like a baby, in fact.
When we were young, we went to go see Matilda in theaters, and there's that scene where the evil woman
Full disclosure, I have no idea what movie you're talking about.
Okay, it's a kids movie,
Okay.
and this young chick gets grabbed by her hair by an evil caretaker, and the caretaker starts spinning her around in circles. And I was so emotionally shooken up by that scene as like a 7 to 8-year-old kid that I cried and walked out of the theater and made my family leave because I couldn't handle it. So I was a bit of a
Wow.
pussy when it came to movies when I was young. I'm
Jeez.
glad we were able to bring that up.
Well, how does that make you feel? Let's unpack your feelings.
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, let's not.
Let's keep that for Christmas afternoon
Yeah.
sometime. But yeah, I don't know. I think if it got a reboot and it did it the right way, I think it would probably be a massive success.
Yeah, I think so.
But that's the problem. I mean, okay, so I'm gonna put this out there. The other day, I watched the second installment of the Ninja Turtle movie, right, with Bebop and Rocksteady.
Okay.
Right, the newer release ones.
Yeah, the one. Yeah.
So I was watching it and I was like, man, this movie is fucking good, man. The CGI is on point. but I still wish there were people inside of a suit.
Yeah.
You
Well, that's
know?
the way I felt after the Jurassic Park reboots that they did,
Yeah.
because it's all CGI at this point. And like sometimes I don't mind CGI, like in the Avengers when it has to be. They
Yeah.
do a good job with it. They have millions and millions of dollars to pour into it and it comes out looking good.
Yeah.
But
Thor comes flying in, like you have to
yeah,
animate that.
I never I have never seen CGI that was so good that I didn't know it was CGI. If that makes sense. I always know it's like, well, that's not really there,
Yeah.
you know? So I think if you can limit that and go with practical effects, it just makes for a better experience.
And you know what? A lot of what made the original Jurassic Park, right? I was younger, I don't know, maybe 13, 14 when that came out, and I literally went to the movie theater on opening day to watch that movie.
Yeah.
And the reason it was so scary was not that these big animals existed and they had created, they had created a monster, right? It's that the Tyrannosaurus Rex was so scary because you didn't see him all at one time. You knew
Yeah.
he was there because the goat went missing,
Yeah.
right? And then you could see him through the bushes, or you saw a leg drag or something. It's like, dude, that's what was creepy as shit. But in this one, it was far more believable. There was less of a suspension of belief because they had been created in reality, right?
Well, it also adopts that same thing you're talking about where it doesn't blow its wad in the first 10 minutes of the movie, which is something that horror movies do today.
Yeah.
Right? Like we were watching the movie live and it was, I think, 50 minutes in before the first kill.
Yeah. And we were
It
like,
took time
dude,
to establish a plot, set up a story, it sets up the characters, you know? And so then when shit starts happening, you give a shit because they took the time to establish, you know what I'm saying? Instead of just making it a gore fest or a kill fest, they established the characters, they established the plot, and then the fun stuff starts to happen, and you actually give a shit because there's stakes. They've been established.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Joe White says the new Lion King has really good CGI, and I've seen the trailer for it. I'm not like wildly interested to watch it for the movie's sake, but because of the trailer and the depth and detail of the CGI in the movie, I'm actually probably gonna watch it.
Yeah.
But effects have come a long way, but there's still something intangible about CGI that you can still see.
Yeah.
You can still tell that is animated.
Yeah,
So
it's the same way that like I look at like a video game. Graphics have come a really long way, but there's never been a video game where I'm like, "Oh, that's real."
yeah, like that's a dude right there.
Yeah, no matter how good the cutscene is, no matter how great the graphics are, I always know it's computer generated. And it's the same way with the CGI. No matter how good it is, I always know it's not really there. And that it doesn't take you out of the movie, but it is something that you notice.
I, and that's why I like a lot of the Grindhouse and Quentin Tarantino stuff, is because somebody gets shot. Let's say Reservoir Dogs, right?
Yeah.
Dude gets shot. He's laying on the floor bleeding. The only time you see the wound, it looks like a fucking gunshot wound.
Yep.
And the blood, the amount of blood, and the ferocious kind of nature of the scenes where this dude's in serious distress and he just figured out that this guy's a cop that set everybody up. Like, you can feel those scenes because they're reality. They're in front of you. Like, the actor is seeing a guy covered in blood and he's putting himself in that position. So I think you lose a lot of that on a green screen set where 80% of the movie is,
Yeah,
and,
like the shootout at the ending of Django Unchained,
yeah,
like all the legitimate like blood splatter and stuff. That's what makes that scene so good.
yeah.
It's
Well,
not like
that
it's anything crazy. It's just the effects that are used, the
and,
practical effects.
and that to me, spoiler alert for next week, is what makes the Joker so good.
I agree that that is one of the things that makes the Joker good.
Okay, so no
It's just
spoiler, no spoiler
yeah.
there.
Tune in next week
Yeah,
because I
it's
think that's going to be an interesting. If you haven't seen Joker, I definitely suggest watching it.
yeah. Where so speaking of watching it, where can we watch Gremlins? I know I streamed it on AMC through their Roku app.
Yeah, Gremlins is actually if you have Google Play Movies, you can buy it and they have it 4K for like $5, or you can rent it I think for $2. Obviously, with going into that, maybe we should talk about what we would rate it as far as is it a buy or is it a rental or is it a pass?
Okay,
Really, it's
yeah,
not a
because
pass.
we've got two different options. You know, if you have a cable provider login, you can go over there and hit up the AMC app, or you can go there on your desktop and stream it for free. Whereas Steven didn't have that option, so he paid for it.
Yeah,
Um,
and I
so
bought
what? Let's go to you with the subjective rating.
subjectively.
Hmm.
I say Gremlins is a buy. Okay, I think it's a buy
Okay.
because it's it's like I said, it's a Christmas movie, but it's a movie that I think you could watch at any time
Yeah,
and
you can
enjoy.
watch it in July.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's Christmas is the setting, it's not the focus of the movie. And so it's really and the practical effects hold up, the story's good. I think I think it's a buy for sure, 100%. If
And
you can get
I
it for less than $10,
in
and own it in
4K.
4K, yeah, it's a buy.
And I'm not gonna go against that at all. I'm gonna say it's definitely. Here's the thing about that I love about Gremlins. If you uh if you're a horror movie fan, it's a must have. If you're a Christmas movie fan, it's a must have. If you're a nostalgia movie fan, it's a must have. It crosses it you can go into comedy genre with it. You can go into all these different genres that it kind of pulls into one kind of sector. But me as a horror movie fan, it's in my collection. I already own it on DVD. So um, I say it's definitely worth a buy. However, I would say probably wait until February or March because you can probably find it in the $5 bin at Walmart. Whereas now you're going to pay $9 for it.
Well, yeah, if you're gonna get it on I'm not a huge I say that I have a huge Blu-ray collection, but after the way that streaming services are and buying stuff digitally, I'm more into that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need any more physical Blu-rays. So if you're more into like the physical, owning a physical copy of it, then yeah, I would say maybe wait and see if you can get it for less than $10. But if you're
Even if
wanting to
you
buy
had to
it,
pay $10, dude, it's worth $10.
it's worth $10 for sure. Uh, but I'd say it's no question worth 5 or 6 bucks for a digital
Oh yeah,
copy of it.
absolutely.
So obviously we're sponsored by Google Play Movies.
Yeah.
Okay,
Obviously.
go ahead and send that check. But
So what I'm gonna say, uh, what I'm gonna say now may be slightly controversial.
okay,
So I want everybody to brace themselves. But Gizmo is the original Baby Yoda, and he does it better.
whoa,
Putting it out there.
wow.
Turn around. Well, you can't see it because it's on a fucking green screen. Look at that picture. Now put a little turtleneck on him and tell me that's not Baby Yoda, except way better.
I'll be honest, I haven't watched Mandalorian, so I don't know.
I
I've
haven't
seen the
either.
memes.
But my wife tags me in every Baby Yoda meme on the internet. She's like, ha ha ha, look at this one. I'm like, it's stupid.
Yeah, Disney's ruined Star Wars. It's kind of a sore subject right now for me,
Uh,
especially the new one just came out and apparently it's shit. So
oh,
yeah, but anyway,
touchy subject, I see.
yeah, I've been
Nice.
watching a bunch of I'm not even gonna go see it, but let's go into the objective ratings. How
Okay.
because this is the ending of the Christmas fucking spectacular that we've done. So we've watched 4 Christmas movies. Where would you put Gremlins in that list? Let's give a final list of these 4 Christmas movies.
Okay. Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4.
We'll run them down the list.
Okay.
So I'm going to put my number one position going to Christmas Vacation.
Okay.
My number 2 spot's going to go to Home Alone. My number 3 spot's going to go to Die Hard. And my number 4 spot's going to go to Gremlins.
Okay.
So I put Gremlins at the bottom of the pile because it's just like Die Hard. It doesn't rely on Christmas to carry the large majority of the storyline, whereas the other 2 movies very much so do. And that's, to me, that is the spirit of being a Christmas movie. Now, is Gremlins better than the top 2 movies? As a movie, yes. I think Gremlins is a better movie than Home Alone and Christmas Vacation.
Okay.
I don't think it's a better movie than Die Hard. Right?
Yeah.
But on my scale, I'm going to give it a 4.5 because what it lacks in believability, right? The suspension of belief that you have to have for a movie like this to make sense, it makes up for it in physical special effects. Yeah. So you don't have to disbelieve that they exist because they're right there. Like, they are a physical thing. They do exist.
Yeah.
Now, a matter of reality, they don't, but it's so much more believable if you have something physical in front of you. So 4.5 is what I'm going to go with because I think the scene that we opened this show with, the bar scene of the Gremlins just wrecking shit, is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. And the first kill in this movie, by the way, was the science professor. And I thought it was very ironic that he's laying under the desk with a syringe sticking out of his ass that he had just stuck into the Gremlin's foot.
Mm-hmm.
So, with that being said, objective is on you.
Okay, I'm going to give Gremlins the same rating, a 4.5 out of 5.
Okay.
I think it's a great movie. But we're going to disagree with the overall ranking.
Okay.
Because what you see as a weakness, I see as a positive. The fact that Die Hard and Gremlins don't rely on Christmas, to me, make them better movies. Which you said also, but you said, well, it's not a better Christmas movie. I disagree. I think it is a better Christmas movie because I think if you rely on Christmas, like the idea of Christmas in the setting, to be a movie, like it's maybe a more true to the spirit of Christmas movie, but that doesn't make it a better Christmas movie. You know, it just makes it a more Christmassy movie.
But the definition Christmas movie means it has to be related and surrounding Christmas.
They are.
It's just the dates.
Is Joker a great comic book movie? Absolutely. But which is more comic booky, Joker or the original Batman TV series?
Depends on what generation you're looking at.
No, I'm talking about the original Batman series.
Yeah.
It's like pow and boom and all this shit, and it looks like comic panels. That's more comic bookish.
That's more comic bookish than Joker. I'll give you that all day.
Okay. But Joker's better.
Oh, all day long.
And it's a better comic book movie.
We need to save this for next week.
Okay, but that would be my example. So I would say Die Hard is 1,
Okay.
Gremlins is 2, Christmas Vacation 3, and surprisingly for me, Home Alone comes in at the number 4 spot.
Wow.
Christmas Vacation to me was the surprise because I hadn't seen it and I really enjoyed it.
That for me, that was the dark horse that I saw coming in for you.
Yeah. So you were right. But
Yeah.
again, to me, Die Hard and Gremlins are the two top dogs, which I didn't expect Gremlins to make the top 2. I really didn't. I thought it was going to be Die Hard, Christmas Vacation, Home Alone, Gremlins. But
So
upon a
what?
rewatch, I really enjoyed watching it.
How long had it been since you had seen Gremlins?
About 10 years.
So long enough to forget the vast majority of the movie.
It was like watching it for the first time. I didn't really remember anything about it. I kind of remembered the overall story arc, but I didn't remember the execution of it. So, yeah, I mean, for me, those are that's the ranking of our Christmas movie spectacular, which I will keep referring to it as.
So Johnny Drips says it's about Christmas movies, not movies that you watch year round. When you want to whack your sack, you don't watch Beetlejuice, you watch a damn porno. Heavy, your co-host is poop.
First of all, when I want to whack my sack, I may watch Beetlejuice. You don't know my life.
He does.
Winona Ryder used to be hot. Second of all, fuck you.
Jesus, hostile with the audience. Nice.
Yeah. Well, he's not really an audience. He's more of a dick. He's a troll.
Wow.
He's probably about to get booted. But yeah, so that's our rankings. And as we said, next week we'll be doing Joker. And we're kind of already starting to talk about it tonight. So I think we're going to get into some really good discussion next week.
Next week's going to be good. Next week's going to be good. Is it out to stream yet anywhere?
Yeah, you can buy it on Google Movies. That's the one that I use mostly, but I know it's on Fandango, Vudu, Google, and Amazon Prime, I believe. But obviously it's new, so you're going to have to buy it.
Okay. Let's see. You can get it on YouTube for $20, Vudu for $20, Google Play for $20. Looks like it's going to cost you a 20 spot no matter where you watch it at.
Yeah, and I would say watch it.
Yeah, definitely. So what we'll do is next week on Sunday, more than likely, you're available Sunday, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so Sunday sometime we'll have a watch party. We'll just start it on Instagram, get everybody into it and going. And yeah, we'll do that Sunday. So make sure you follow us on Instagram, 2 Guys in a Trailer.
All lowercase, no space.
All lowercase, no space. Boy, you know what I should do? I should take 5 minutes out of my life one day and make a little banner for down here that has our IG on it.
No, that's too much effort, dude.
Nah, it's really not. I'm just way too lazy. But that's what we got. We'll see you guys next Monday. Same bat time, same bat channel. To everybody out there who celebrates, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, whatever you choose to celebrate or not celebrate. If you don't celebrate, yeah, go fuck yourself. I guess that's the proper way to put it. But we are going to get up out of here. We will see you Sunday.
Later, guys.